Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network, as we join you on this rainy, well, on and off rainy Friday evening after a very, very tough game number 2. Now, put this series in perspective. The Knicks lost a game 1 at home that if they replayed from the point where they were up 14 with 2:50 left, or the point where they were up 9 inside the final minute, they would win the game 500 times out of 500 times. That was a 10,000 to 1 shot. Everything had to go wrong. When you get that kind of collapse, not one thing can go wrong for the team that is trying to make the dramatic comeback. But the Knicks for the night did some things that should have made that a winning effort. There was things you could take from that game. Tonight's game, which was a very strange game, it had very little flow. It was a game that was kind of like a counterpuncher. You punch, I counterpunch, you punch, I counterpunch. It was a game that the Knicks should have had a substantial lead, not a 3-point lead at the half, but the Pacers got a crazy performance from Siakam, who had a bad for him first game. And I've said for a while that I felt Siakam was probably the most underrated player in the league. He's an unusual player, but in that you don't have to run a lot of things for him. He can score in a variety of ways. He can get out on a break and score. He can get a 3 and score. He can hit the turnaround. He can take it hard to the hole. He cleans up a lot of mess. He can be quiet some games and then very explosive some games. Tonight was obviously an incredibly explosive game as he wound up with 39 points and kept them in the game the entire first half. And then you got to the fourth quarter of this game, and although the game was tied, I had a very uneasy feeling because I felt that the Pacers hadn't played well. And I was waiting for them to execute some plays, and then they did. See, the Pacers basically come in here, and the fourth quarter is a perfect example. We are going to run pick and roll, and we are going to probe until we get the mismatch we want, and then we're going to attack. Now, the problem for the Knicks is their 2 top scorers, if you want to call Towns the second scorer, which you can, I like it when Bridges is aggressive, like he was late in the game. God forbid he's ever that way for the whole game. We have not seen that, not once in the playoffs. Their 2 guys, their 1-2, Brunson, Towns, are extremely, to be polite, extremely vulnerable to borderline awful defenders, and they get taken advantage of time and time again. The Knicks defense in this series has been weak. Let's be honest. It's been weak time and time again, and the Pacers tonight shoot 52%. And Turner killed them in the fourth quarter. He did nothing in this game, and then he killed them. Top of my head, I think Turner had 14 points in the fourth quarter. I think he had 16 for the game, and I think if you went back and looked, I didn't to make sure it's exact, but top of my head, I'd say he had 16 for the game, 14 of them were in the fourth quarter. They scored when they had to in the fourth quarter, and then they got 2 crippling offensive rebounds late in the game that the Knicks had to wrestle those possessions, had to get that basketball, and they didn't. The other thing is, I think you've seen by now, other than when Towns scores on these bizarre drives, which I think every time I say it, that's a terrible shot and it goes in. That's a terrible shot for a big man. It goes in. He get running one hand to falling away. It goes in. He has a habit of hitting those shots. he gets unconsciously hot, and he's a rather unique three-point shooter for a big, but he's not a complete player in any way, as we know. And that's a big problem for the Knicks, that these guys have vulnerabilities, and their starting lineup has vulnerabilities. And this team has been frustrating for Tibbs to coach and to find peace with, because he doesn't like the defensive weaknesses. He has one rim protector, and he played him 20. I asked him to play him 28 to 30 minutes tonight when I was, previewing the game, and he played him 29 minutes tonight. I would space out his minutes a little more. I thought he played him too many minutes in a row. I would try to play him 6 to 8 minutes at a time, Robinson, because I think he needs some blows. But that's nitpicking. He did play him a very long stretch throughout late one and throughout two. Maybe a little too much. Robinson continues to be just terrific in this series. Absolutely, absolutely terrific. And the Knicks got a lot of minutes out of the three guys. Their bench almost played as many minutes as Indiana's, but Indiana does it with 6 guys, and the Knicks do it really with 2 and a cameo from Payne. They played McBride 25 minutes. They played Robinson 29 minutes. I don't even think he wants to play Payne, but he throws him in there for a couple of minutes because that is the hand he's being forced because of the multitude of players who play for Indiana. And McConnell continues to be a Pritchard-like pain in the rear end. Tonight, 14 minutes, 10 points, 4 assists. That's 18 points he was responsible for in 14 minutes of play off the bench. Killer, killer, killer. Time and time again. I mean, Shepherd played a couple of minutes, went in to play some defense, got 6 big points, hit a big 3. They again get threes from a lot of places. Siakam had 3. Turner chipped 1 in. Halliburton knocked in 3. Nesmith knocked in 2. Nemhard knocked in 2. Shepherd knocked in 2. It's a lot of places that they get threes, and they add up and they sting. And they sting. Whether it's Shepherd or it's Nesmith in the corner or it's Turner in the other corner, they sting. At the worst opportune moments, they sting. And then Halliburton throws in one of his rainbows. And Halliburton scored 14 points tonight, and he missed a lot of shots. But he also had 8 rebounds and 11 assists. Indiana has a versatility and a depth which we knew was going to drive the Knicks nuts. But the Knicks are better offensively when they run and when they spread the floor. What I don't like and is not effective enough. I understand Brunson will make baskets, and he will make baskets in traffic. Tonight he was 13 of 27 from the floor. He will make baskets in traffic. We all know Brunson brings 2 incredible strengths and a host of weaknesses to his game, but 2 incredible strengths. One, he is extremely, almost supremely confident. His confidence never wavers, and that's very rare in a player. Only the rarest of players have that. He has the kind of will, and this is a high compliment, that you see in a Jordan. Now, he's not Jordan, and I'm not trying to make him Jordan, and no one had Jordan's will, but Brunson's confidence in his ability to score is not bendable under any. He has no doubt. He could miss 5 in a row, and he's taking the next one. He has no doubt. The other thing he has is, and you're probably sick of me talking about it, is the most exquisite footwork I have seen in a very long time, maybe ever. Big man footwork, no one could do what Olajuwon did. His footwork might be as good or better than any I've ever seen. He's never off balance. He gets defenders off balance. He uses the weight in his shoulders, and he he uses his feet like a boxer. It is unbelievable how good his footwork is. But I am tired of seeing him take the handoff, top of the key, 19 left on the 24. He wastes 4 or 5 out there and then gets trapped in a double team, has to spin away, either take an off balance shot, either take a long bad three, or make a suspect pass. That should not be their offense. They have to be better than that. And too many times they get bogged down with that, with quick shots, with off balance shots, with too many, just too many things that go wrong. It took them so long to get into their offense. It's crazy. And I did not like his quick 30-foot three down three because let's be honest, he is not a great deep shooter. This is not Curry. This is not anybody who shoots great from three. He is not a great three-point shooter. He is a great intermediate shooter and scorer. He can make threes, but he's not a great three-point shooter. And I didn't like that. I would have rather he went to the basket and tried to get fouled and made it 2 and then fouled again. I would have liked that better than what I got there. And I'd rather have other people shooting the three at the end of the game from an open spot than him coming up and taking an indiscriminate one from 33 feet out. I did not like that play at all. And sometimes the Knicks offense makes you scratch, or lack of offense or lack of direction makes you scratch your head. See, right now, this town couldn't have gotten higher after that Celtic beating. Not only did they win that series, but they punished the Celtics. And let's be honest, the Celtics had accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. They went home, they held serve on their court as champions, and then they had nothing in Game 6, which I didn't think they would. And the Knicks ran them out of the building and embarrassed them, and New York had this triumphant night, and they've been riding high, and now they were ready for this series, and the intensity for this series has been enormous. And then Game 1 comes up, and it is a shot to the solar plexus, the likes of which you're not supposed to take. But you know what? Tonight was worse. Because tonight, your expectations were that there was no way the Knicks would not come out with this game. And Indiana took a game that was tied after 3 quarters and took it away from the Knicks in the 4th quarter in their building. And it has become quite obvious. No matter how many movie stars are sitting courtside, no matter how many Ben Stillers and Bill Murrays and Timothy Chalamet's, and no matter how many stars, John McEnroe, Spike, name them, 400, Steve Sharippa, my old buddy, everybody is in the building, okay? You can count them. There's probably 200 of you there. And it gets bigger and stronger every night. We know that. No matter how many are there, it's not working. The Knicks have been a bad team on their home court in the playoffs. They can't win at home. They're much, much more comfortable. They're much better. They're much more efficient on the road. Look at the numbers. It's obvious. They did not play well. The Detroit Pistons came in and whacked the Knicks around. The Pacers have come in, and they've beaten the Knicks 2 straight. This is Madison Square Garden. It's supposed to be a fortress. It's an open highway right now. It's a building without doors. There's no protection. They can't win here. Now, I'm sure after being floored by what you watched in a game that was a 10,000 to 1 shot, there's no other way to discuss what happened in Game 1. 10,000 to 1 collapse. A game that will be talked about for as long as they talk about playoff basketball. What Nesmith did will be talked about forever. He is a player who averaged 12 points in the regular season, 14 points in the playoffs, who scored 20 points in the 4th quarter at Madison Square Garden and hit 6 straight threes. Unheard of. Nobody'd ever hit 6 straight threes in the postseason game. Not Michael, not Curry, not Sam Jones, not Reggie, not Sam Jones, Jerry West, name them all. That's how special that was. And tonight, more frustrating than that because this is one they could not let get away. And their shortcomings, especially on the defensive end, continue to rear their ugly heads in these games. They are being exposed so dramatically. Why do you think Towns was on the bench all that time? I know people can say, "How can he be on the bench?" He's on the bench because his guys going by him like he's standing still. And they get tired of looking at it. And it is killing this team in big spots. So, I was very surprised. I'm old school, so if I think a series is going 7, I'm always picking the home team. It's just me. It's just what I've always believed in. It's what I brought up with, okay? When you've been around as long as I have, it's the way you think, even though it's changed a little bit. And the home team is not the fortress and not the strength that it used to be, where it used to be impossible to win game sevens on the road. That's not the case anymore. And teams win on the road a lot more now than they used to. We could talk about the reasons why, but they do. I think part of it is there's such a familiarity among players and a movement among players. See, in the old days, your team was your team, their team was their team. People didn't change teams. There wasn't a players' union. All these things that have made the players a brotherhood, I think, is taken away from some of that game. What used to be so strong for a team against another team in a game 7. But that's a story for another day. But my point was, I looked at this series as pretty much a toss-up. I thought the Knicks had some strengths. I thought the Pacers had clear strengths in terms of coaching, in terms of depth, and in terms of their ability to score with so much versatility with so many different players, including McConnell off the bench. See, I love Pritchard's and McConnell's. If I'm the Knicks, I'm getting myself one of those guys. I want one. I want Pritchard. I want McConnell. Those guys are deadly. They are such a pain in the neck. And they do it in the second quarter, which is a time to feast. I thought the series was dead even. I picked the Knicks in 7. Nah, and I was surprised how many people were all over the Knicks, and a lot of people being demonstrative about the Knicks because Indiana has played very well. And if you look at the metrics in the league, they had played incredibly well over the last 2 months of the regular season. And they played well in the playoffs for the most part. I mean, really, except for one game, exceedingly well. Now everyone's going to completely count the Knicks out. Okay, they're down 2 games. And if you look at the numbers, if you lose the first 2 at home, you don't win the series. You just don't. The numbers are overwhelming. Okay. Now, this might surprise you. I don't think this series is over. Is it going to be hard? It's going to take a minor miracle. But I expect the Knicks to play really well the next 2 games. I don't know that they can get I really think they'll get one. I don't think they can get both. I think they'd have to do this from 3-1 down or maybe 3-2 down coming home. Now, if you lose game 3, obviously, the odds become infinitesimal. The Knicks have to win game 3. But I expect them to play the best game they've played in the series in game 3. And One thing I've learned about Nick Pacer series is they always have incredible twists and turns, and something tells me that this is not gonna be the last turn in this series. We had an incredible turn in game 1. The Knicks were on their way to a rollicking win, and we know what happened. And then I guarantee you, everybody went to the game tonight figuring the Knicks are gonna go out and get a 120 to 108 win, and we're gonna be 1-1. I thought this game would be close, but I thought the Knicks would pull it out. I didn't think they deserved to be 6-point favorites, but I thought they would pull it out. And even after 3 quarters, I thought they would pull it out, but I did say to Jack, I said, "Jack, they're playing with fire here going into the 4th quarter." You know, they're really playing with fire. Indiana just comes out and hits a couple of threes, or one guy gets hot, they're gonna lose this game. And Indiana came out, made some threes, Turner got hot, Siakam continued to make plays. Shepard hit a 3, Nesmith hit a 3, Halliburton made a play, and the next thing you know, they get beat. And now they're flat on their back. 2-0 down, going to Indiana. Series is over. Woe is me. Oh, I cannot believe this has happened to me. Poor Knick fan. Hey, I expect that. That's what happens in these series. You take a punch, you take a second straight punch, you're about to get knocked out. Can't take 3 punches in a row in a 7-game series. It doesn't work that way. They have to stop and make their stands right now. But they've been an enormously better road team than they have a home team. As bizarre as that sounds, they have. So, I'm not sitting here telling you that, I can tell you that I believe the Knicks are gonna win the series, but I really believe we haven't had the last twist in this series. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks produce anxious moments. They're gonna have to do a lot of things better to win this because now they have to, do the math. They have to win 4 of the next 5 games or they're going home. That's hard to do at any time. And if you look at it that way, it sure looks insurmountable. This was disappointing, and I'm gonna tell you something else right now. The way this series is cascading, if it continues to cascade this way, it's gonna fall not on the players' shoulders, it's gonna fall on Tibbs' shoulders. I really believe that. Because they're gonna start to think, "Well, this is not the right team for him to coach." And changing the players is not the way they're probably gonna go. And nor do I think they should, because if their plan is to bring in a veteran player here, I would not go for that. I'm not saying there's not pieces they can't use, there are, but I don't wanna see some veteran star in here. Even though I admit there's some things about this team, especially the vulnerabilities that the defense has to have Brunson and Towns on the floor. And, it's not lost on a shrewd coach, and I told you, Carlisle isn't good, he's real good. And he exposes their defensive weaknesses. That's why Indiana's shooting 50% in the series. They shot 50% on the road the first 2 games of the series. You shoot 50% in the playoff game, you're usually gonna win it. And his team answers offensively when it has to. And tonight, they made some plays defensively, which they didn't make in game 1. They made some plays tonight defensively. See, Indiana won game 1, but knew they didn't play well. Psychology of results. Knicks played better and collapsed and gave away a game. Indiana knew that they won a game where they hadn't played real well. It's always how you coach the psychology of results. I think the next advance in this series will be from the Knicks. I'll be very surprised if it's not. Very surprised. But ask him to get both. They would have to play so overwhelmingly well to get both in Indiana. I think what you hope for right now is to come back down 3-1 and see if you can take it one game at a time. Win the third game. Pray you can somehow steal the fourth game and then get back here. I mean, if you can get back here 2-2, it's a whole different story. But if you can get back here 3-1, you still have a chance. I've seen plenty of teams come back from 3-1, especially with 2 of the 3 games in their building. Would I say this series is 100% over? I do not. Do I understand that it is an enormous hill to climb? Yes, absolutely. That's obvious. That goes without saying. And they have to be better. This team gives them fits in certain areas. And it has to do with Carlisle's offensive machinations. It has to do with their depth and their scoring depth. They got guys on the bench that can hurt them. They can score in a variety of ways. They have a host of players who can lead them in scoring. See, the Knicks have a bunch of secondary players, but they're often ignored because of what goes on with Brunson. Usually in the game, either Bridges or OG is being completely ignored at some point in the game. If Bridges is going, OG's not. If OG's going, Bridges is not. Rarely do you have them both going at the same time. If you do, you know what? The other team's in a lot of trouble. Doesn't happen because they don't spread the wealth enough, they don't spread the floor enough, and they don't facilitate enough. And I blame Tibbs for that because that offense had to be opened up more. And when it does open up, it looks like something very pretty. It's just not there enough. His defensive problems are easily remedied. Yeah, take Towns out and put Robinson in. But obviously, you lose something on the other end of the floor. Not in scoring, not obviously in rebounding, because Robinson's play has been tremendous, utterly tremendous. It really has. He is a unique and valuable weapon, but they're still a man short. They're a guard short on that bench. They need a Pritchard McConnell player so badly next year. That player becomes in. Think about Pritchard coming in and getting 14, 16 off the bench. Think about McConnell in these 2 games. Tonight, he had 10 points and 4 assists in 14 minutes. That's an incredible contribution. Makes 5 of 8 shots, facilitates the offense, is a pest in every way, moves the offense, gets the ball in the right spots. Invaluable. You don't think about those guys. No one talks about those guys, but they are extremely valuable. Bad loss, disappointing loss. A loss that, without any question, highlighted their vulnerabilities that have been there all the time. This is a flawed team. It's a good team, sometimes highly efficient team, but it is an extremely flawed team. And Tibbs has a prove it to me bench thing. And they have no depth. And that's hurting them. But hurting them more is the way that they are being exposed in the pick and roll. And they still, again tonight, gave up way too many uncovered threes. That's got to stop. If it doesn't stop, they won't win games, especially in big spots. So I know that tonight as you left the garden, if you were fortunate enough to be there, or you're at one of those viewing things or of parties, or you're watching at home or whatever. I know the air came out of your holiday weekend with them now being 2 down. You've bought into the Knicks so much, you've had such a fun ride with them, and you don't want it to end, and you had such high hopes for the series and such high hopes for a trip to the final, even though they were going to be a decided underdog to Oklahoma City, who is overwhelming Minnesota right now. A trip to the finals would have been special, even against a highly talented team. A team that won a lot of games this year and deserves to be a heavy favorite. Hey, now, 1 quarter at a time. 1 quarter at a time. Before I say good night, I want to look and see what's going on in that Met game, which was rain delayed for a long time. Kershaw was pitching early, got 2 innings in, and then he had to leave, obviously. The Mets were down 3-2, but the Soto thing was starting to take on even more life of its own as I switched over to watch the second at bat after the bunt and the error, put Marte at second base, and Soto bounced out, and you could hear the cascade of boos coming down. I think that's going to start to really snowball on him as this happens. I see he's up right now, as a matter of fact, as I'm watching. Runner on base, down 5-2. Bottom of the 9th, he is 0 for 3. And there's 1 out and a runner on first base. Now, this is going to oh, he just made out again. Jeez, 0 for 4. I don't have the game on down here. I'm watching it on the MLB thing. I don't have the sound on, but I'm sure the cascade. I'll check the post game out. This is going to take on a real life of its own. I think it has started. I think it will start to snowball now, and I think now he's going to get the rough treatment. The Met fans had been encouraging to this point. I think Sunday night and then Monday night, when he didn't run either time, clearly has them thinking now they're going to take a different tact. That tact started tonight. I'm sure it has snowballed during this rainy evening, and we'll see how that unfolds over this holiday weekend. So, Mets down 5-2. Now all the Yankees have to do is lose to the Rockies. Not that anybody would find that anything except comical, that this team that is just dreadful, that can't win a game. Oh, they beat the I said that to someone today. I said, "You know what? The Yankees have been playing really well." I said, "They'll go out to Colorado now, where Colorado can't beat anybody, and the Colorado beat them 2 out of 3." Well, they beat them tonight 3-2. Imagine holding the Yankees to 2 runs in that ballpark. That's funny. Judge had a home run, which I know the over-under was like 3 home runs this weekend for Judge in that park. He had one again tonight as his batting average has slipped to 398. Shame on him. He hit his 17th home run. But the Yankees fall 3-2, and that's funny. I'm sure tonight there's a lot of people who said, "You know what? Hey, I'm down this week, but I'm getting even. I'm betting the Yankees. How can the Yankees ever not score 9 runs? I'm taking them on the run line tonight." I don't know what the line was. Probably on the run line tonight, the Yankees were 3-1 or 2.5. They were probably 2.5 to 1 on the run line or 4-1 on the regular line. I don't know exactly what it was. Mons, maybe you have it for me what the Yankees were tonight in Colorado, if you can grab it. It probably was something that outrageous because Colorado has been so unbelievably bad. I mean, they came in tonight with a record that is so. They were 8-42 coming into the game tonight. They had lost 9 of their last 10, and the Yankees came in playing well with a 5-game lead in their division. And next thing, 11 games over 500, and the Yankees get beat game 1 in Colorado and score 2 runs. You know what? It always takes me back. And I think that I know I'm laughing about it, but I think it's funny because that's baseball. As John Sterling would say to Susan during the years, That's baseball, Susan. And you know what it is? Sparky Anderson put it best. He said, remember in baseball, the worst team is going to win 1/3 of its games. Now, when a team wins 40 games like the White Sox last year or the 62 Mets, it's historic. Colorado's going to be that type of team. Right now, they're on a pace for 28. It went up a little tonight, probably went to 30. And a team, no matter how good, is going to lose 1/3 of its game. That would be 110 wins. That's a legendary season. So you're always going to win a third or lose a third. So tonight, the fact that that happens, now I'm sure there's some awful better who's saying tonight, I can't believe it. I can even lose with the Yankees against Colorado. And I'm sure the number tonight was extreme because the Yankees came in hot and Colorado came in ice cold, and the Yankees and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure the number was outrageous this evening. And I think I said to someone, watch Colorado beat them. And they did 3-2. So that's actually funny. It is. But that's baseball. It really is. So back to these Knicks. And I know you're going to walk around sad all weekend, and you think that hope died tonight on the Garden floor. Hey, here's the way to look at it. I'm going to try and give you a little optimism. I still got to beat them 2 more times. Make that tough. And I do think the Knicks will play their best game in Game 3. That I do believe. Let's see where that takes us. We'll see you later.